Oh, we'll get our introduction today.
Well, praise the Lord, hallelujah, and thank you, Jesus. It's around that time right here on KAZ Radio where I have one of my favorite Monday evening shows, Pause with Robyn and Honey. Take it away, Robyn.
Good evening, good evening, good evening. I am trying my best to. We'll do that later. I was trying to get the post up that we are on live on air. I can take my glasses off because I look a little crazy. I am a little under the weather, sniffles and all of that. So hopefully I don't sound too bad. I'm going to take this mic off so you don't hear my breathing. But you can still hear me, right? Okay. So this topic, it was going to probably wind up being a little bit of a push and pull this week. Push and pull. Honey's fighting me on this topic. I want to talk about what's love got to do with it. Just talking about love in general. Why is this why is this such a sore subject for you? I'm not talking about just romantic,
I don't care what type of love we talk about.
This is the most from the most loving woman in the world. You got her pick. You see pictures of her loving on kids in Africa. You see her loving on kids here in Cleveland, just loving tirelessly on people, loving on her sisters and all of this. Yes, you don't nobody love their sister like you. Listen,
I do love that girl. Yeah. That is the truth.
And then we say we're gonna talk about love, and you like, whatever.
Yeah.
Please explain to me why is this a somewhere why you don't want to talk about this?
It's just like if I were spending some real significant time focusing on unicorns and mermaids. And that's my truth. And so I was telling it to you in my truth. Now I can stand in it, I can serve God's people, but the rest of it, I think love is something that has to be really, really modeled. And I think that's why I spend so much time with young people, so that they're modeling and their imprint of what love is and what it should be is kind of understood. And I don't get love on that level, so I don't rock with it on that level.
You don't get love on what level?
I think the level that you're trying to make me get love on.
See, this is the problem, because I think you're assuming where I'm trying to go. I'm thinking about, because we see so much negativity in society today. So I'm thinking about love in a general sense. I'm not trying to, there's love on so many different levels. Can we peel back the layers of what love is? Because essentially God is love, right?
Correct, Robyn. God is love.
God is love. So in rejecting love, are we rejecting God?
Oh, that's a good question. I think for me, love is very much so a vertical expression. Mm-hmm. When you put into, and this is really just a vulnerable question, but it's my truth. When you put love into this horizontal place, person to person, you really put it into this fairy tale piece that lends itself to all of the songs that we sing. I am ready for love. Why are you hiding from me? All that romanticism and all of that crap. It's just not what I see life having been modeled in my family at all.
Okay.
And so I don't want to waste any years. We have such limited time. I don't have any hopes at a fairy tale for myself. But that isn't.
So why do we? Okay, so because I keep saying we because this is not just you. I think we do make that assumption when we hear the word love. We have replaced it with erotic love, and that now has taken the place of all love. Why has that happened?
I think because we're all humans and we're born as these relational beings that desire to connect with one another. I think you can get to a place in life though where you have had you've played your final hand. Mm-hmm. And once that level of wounding takes place at the hands of love, you can't tell me, there's some things that I've heard love don't do that.
Yeah.
And so for me personally, it doesn't mean that I don't continue to express love for humanity. I have no hope in the institution of love. It is a waste of my time. And beneath, and it's probably going to shock you that I'm saying this because you already been like, honey, are you serious? And beneath what I'll spend my wheels trying to waste. not spinning my wheels trying to waste on any type of love. But I can't stand her nickname for me. Her nickname for me is Agape. And she was like, "Woo, you got that thing I don't have." I was like, "Why would you say that?" She says, "The way you give despite what they say, you got that God kind of love, honey." I was like, "Ooh, I wish she stopped calling me that."
Why?
So,
But that is so much the essence of you. Why?
yeah, because I'm not trying to be that. I am just acting out what God put in me from a very soured foundation of love, I guess. And be that as it may, I just am not spending these, what I got left, 60 years? If I'm lucky, 50. I'm not spending my time, wasting time with that.
So what?
It's beneath me.
What is love? Is it a noun? Is it a verb? Is it a?
It's a
thing?
fantasy.
What is it?
It's a fantasy.
It is a fantasy. Such a little fantasy.
It's not real.
What song is that?
It's not real.
Fantasy. It's not real.
Mm-mm.
It's an illusion.
There's so many songs. There's one, love, so many things I've got to tell you. You know that Music Soul Child, I think? But I'm afraid I don't know how. Got all these changes at the hands of love.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know love to be that way. And if that's what love is, you're just easier without it. It's too stressful. It's too dramatic. It's too much for me.
Is that love or is that romance?
All of it. It's all of it. For me, I look at even the models within my family. The majority of my siblings do not know the humans that they birthed in this world. My brother probably birthed 4 or 5. My sister birthed 4 or 5. And if they walked into a room, I would know them, and they would know them either. So generationally, what has been set forth, love is a painful piece. So when I go so far as to say, I love you, I mean that in such depth that I'm trusting you with so many broken parts that I don't put in the hands of everybody else.
So you don't know them means you don't love them.
I don't know who they are. I never met these folk. They're just walking around. We don't connect love like that. So physically, I come from a family that don't touch. So my twin sister and I, we love each other. We don't touch. Ain't nobody hugging. So I'm not hugging the average person. We don't touch.
Okay.
We don't express love in words like that. I wasn't raised that way. So when I see these people, even my age, people whose relationships with their mom, for example, they may hug or kiss. I used to get irritated. I said, honey, that's your jealousy. Check your spirit. So I check my spirit about it, but I still don't need love in that way. I don't trust people traditionally that I put my heart into. I warned you that this was going. You probably looking like, honey, whoa. I see the look on your face, but I warned you this was my honest place, and I don't want to ever be disingenuous and be something else in terms of love. That's just my real place. You know what I mean?
Someone just texted me that song I think you were just singing was about Jesus.
Which?
Love. I think Music Soul Child.
Mm-hmm.
That one.
Mm-hmm.
So
But there's another one that made me think of it. They sang in junior high, Mr. Coffee. Jesus is love.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
Next line. He won't let you down.
Lionel
Woo!
Richie.
Like, was it? Yeah,
Lionel Richie,
exactly.
yes.
Now, that's love right there.
Mm-hmm.
That's a whole nother level. When you talk about love like that, if I were to say a prayer, and I'm going to take your piece, use it as my own little private Robyn session, I pray that the only people I encounter in my life for the rest of these years are people who represent Jesus type love. Love me like that and we have no problem. Mm-hmm. Every family member, every job, but I don't have that and so we have a problem. Houston, we have a serious problem.
Right.
And that's my truth. Would I tell kids that? No, probably not.
So the inability of where do I want to go with this? Because I ain't trying to make this a honey session. I want this to be a discussion.
Come on, take me a private session right on the air for other people to see. Let's get it.
Because God is love. I always say to people, love is a divine expression.
Mm-hmm.
It is the expression of God. It's the ability to express God to other people. If you embody God in your flesh, you are able to express God to others. That's love. That's my definition. my voice gonna try to leave me. That's my definition. So you are expressing God when you hug on them babies and you teach them babies and you get up and push through to see them babies and you got all the the African children running after you and trying to help you and do things for you. But something is broken in the receptors for you, in that it's not that you don't have it coming back, because if you express, sowing and reaping, input output, that whole theory,
Reciprocity, all of that, I totally agree with.
You put it out there, it's coming back, but something in your receptors is saying it's not coming back.
The thing is, Robyn, love is such a vulnerable, probably the most vulnerable act, the most vulnerable place you can be in. You've heard it, and it's true. The stranger cannot hurt you or break your heart. Only the people you love are in this intimate space where you trust them enough to put the power of that love in their hands. When that has been intentionally shattered, you are on guard. And for me, I will be on guard probably for the rest of my life. Only fools fall in love. I mean, the songs just keep coming in my head.
Yeah.
And for me, it's not what I personally promote for myself, but as you know, in my personal life, I'm promoting it for everyone else, including my own twin sister.
Right.
And watching those pieces unfold, but not for me. My heart has been broken for the last time on this earth.
So you said two words. You said love and intimacy. Love and intimacy are two different things. So intimacy requires vulnerability.
So does love.
Does it?
Yes, because if I love you, I'm trusting you with something so valuable to me. Love is so, it's like I'm a water baby. It's like being out there in the ocean. You got all the stingrays around you and you're just lost in that water, and you're just floating. Love is so vulnerable that I'm going to trust myself to be here in this space with you. Robyn, I love you. Mm-hmm. That's a place of vulnerability. That's saying I'm going to step outside of the fact that I know this stingray can get me. Then I'm just going to float here and trust that he just sees me as a peaceful being like him.
Right.
And most times they do.
To love someone is one thing. To allow them to get close is another. That requires intimacy.
Intimacy.
Right.
But I've given you that type of space, like some special goggles to see into my soul and my spirit, and you abuse that? No. So you put those guards up for me. Mm-hmm. Is that the best way to live? I'm certainly saying that it's not the most healthy approach to life. It's the approach I must take to maintain the level of work and ministry I need to do. To let people closer than that in this circle is dangerous. And I've learned that, and I'm not in a position, I will not do that again. So you can love me from a distance. Right. Love me from a far distance. I see you. We see each other. I see you. So no, I'm not doing it.
Let me challenge you. I'm going to put my minister's cop, I dusted off from the early 2000s.
Dust it.
To put that away.
Dust it, girl. Dust
from
it.
Early life. Let's go and see what the scriptures say. Because here's the thing. When me and Pastor was talking before you got here, we were talking about the concept of cognitive dissonance. Mm-hmm. Cognitive dissonance is basically, in layman's terms and Robyn's terms, when you have two realities, two belief systems conflicting with one another. So I believe one thing on this hand, and I believe another thing on this hand, but they are not necessarily jiving with one another, and therefore we have either an existential crisis or a spiritual crisis. Mm-hmm. And so we have to look at what is wrong. Which belief is wrong? What is it our understanding of this side? Is it our understanding of that side? And so let's go to what the scriptures say and get an understanding of what the scriptures are saying about love, and challenge it against what we are saying love is, and then say, okay, well, does it line up or not line up?
Give me a scripture. Throw it at me. I'm ready.
Okay, let me pull it up. Hold on. I'm a little slow. Did it close? It closed from earlier today. Hold on. I'll be trying to leave stuff open on the phone. So we go into 1 Corinthians 13. And it's talking about the spiritual gifts. Mm-hmm. To put it in context, because without a text without a pretext is a, what they say? Text without a pretext is a no text. Is that what they say? how to say it, Pastor? A text without a context is a pretext or something like that. You need to put it in context. Is basically what it's saying. So in Corinthians 13, he's talking about spiritual gifts. They're not talking about unicorns
And mermaids.
They're
Okay.
not talking about illusions. They're not talking about nouns.
Mm-hmm.
They're talking about spiritual gifts,
Mm-hmm.
things of the spirit. You get where I'm going?
I'm with you, Robyn.
Okay.
I mean, come on.
So though I speak in tongues and men of angels, but have not love, I become sounding brass or clanging cymbals. And though I have the gift of prophecy and understand all mysteries and all knowledge, and though I have faith so that I can remove mountains, but I have not love, I am nothing. And though I bestow all my goods to feed the poor, and though I give my body to be burned, but have not love, it profits me nothing. Love suffers. And we'll break some of this down a little bit. Long and is
suffers.
kind.
Mm-hmm.
Love does not envy. Love does not parade itself. Is not puffed up. Does not behave rudely.
Doesn't keep record of wrongs. That's my favorite. When you get there.
Does not seek its own.
Yeah.
And this is why I want to talk about this. Was not to get all in Honey's business, but today this is what we see. Like, is this what we see, or why is it so hard to love? Love does not seek its own. Is not provoked. Thinks no evil. Does not rejoice in iniquity, but rejoices in truth. Bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. We are in that season of
All
love.
things.
We are in a season
It's
of
too
love.
much.
It's just the season. Tis the season. Love never fails, but whether there are prophecies, they will fail.
Mm-hmm.
Whether there are tongues, they will cease. Whether there is knowledge, it will vanish away. For we know in part, we prophesy in part. But when that which is perfect has come, then that which is in part will be done away. When I was a child, I spoke as a child, I understood as a child, I thought as a child. But when I became a man, I put away childish things. For now we see in a mirror dimly, but then face to face. Now I know in part, but then I shall know, just as I also am known. And now abide faith, hope, love. These three, but the greatest of these is love. So love is not as difficult as we're making it out to be. It is a spiritual expression. Everything else that we've been talking about, we're talking about intimacy, we're talking about romance, we're talking about erotic feelings, we're talking about infatuation, we're talking about other things. We're not talking about love.
I'm talking
Because
about
the
love.
scriptures is talking about.
So the scriptures for me is talking about everything that comes out of you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm referencing what comes into me, into my space. And for me, I think, and I know I might have this wrong, but this is legitimately how I feel. In the 33 years that Christ walked this earth, he had a specific task to do.
Mm-hmm.
Had he been sidelined by, oh, she cute. Now, it's probably hard for some people to hear me even talk about Christ in those words.
Right.
But he wasn't human. He was spirit in human form. What if he got sidetracked with things that looked like love? Mm-hmm. All I'm simply saying is that I'm going to express what God has for me to do on this earth. And I'm going to express it with 90% of the time I have. The other 10 is for my family and caring for them. As far as love in the way that I still think you mean, love has represented everything you talked about that there. Love suffers long. Love keeps no record of wrong. Love asks for a lot and does not or has not shown me that it's going to give that in return. So what I'm going to do and what I have been modeled, and I don't have a problem being transparent with you, Robyn, or to our listening audience. If you look at a situation where the greatest symbol of love to me, not to me, period, the greatest symbol of love is from a mother to a child. You created this human that's growing inside of you, and you love this human more than you love your own life. Would you say? Mm-hmm. And then, so for that parent to, I don't want to say abandon, desert, or reject, that becomes in the fundamental soil of how you love. So at the basis of the greatest love for me is my parents' rejection. I'm not going any higher than that. That is what I have as my baseline. So the people who created you can break you and you spend 40 of your years begging for their love, there's nothing else higher than that for me. If anything, society, humanity, myself should just be happy that I'm able to get up every day and love on people with the past that has been presented to me. So I love on people, but don't expect much more than that from me because I don't have it to give. There's no empty well for me to pour at, and I'm not going to be disingenuous because that's what makes the most sense. When people ask, aren't you dating? Your sister's dating now. That's her business. That's her business. But as for honey, no, my meat is to do the will of him who sent me. And the rest of it just doesn't go on my plate. You feel me, Robyn? Because you're looking at me like you don't feel me.
No, I got texts. People texting me. Interesting show. Another one said you can't hold the future accountable for the past. And they also said to return to love, to get the love we always, to have the love we want but are not prepared to give. We seek romantic relationships. We believe these relationships more than any other will rescue and redeem us. True love does have the power to redeem, but only if we are ready for redemption. Love saves us only if we want to be saved.
Don't save her. She don't want to be saved. Robyn, like you are on one today.
I know. It's the walls. It's the walls for me.
Yeah,
know?
But at least, I came in knowing that. I came in like, it's Christmas time. Let's sing some carols. Let's talk about all the things that's going on that, that break people. All the things that's going on that is a representation of my love. Now, at Christmas time, I do a lot service-wise. I give a lot of my heart and space. But also in this season of healing, and I liked those comments were powerful, but I'm not in a place where everything else of me is on the table but my heart. You can have everything else. You want my money? There you go. You want my time? There you go. You want me to serve until there you go. I'm going to wake up every morning I exist. This morning, did I cook breakfast for 10 people before I left my house at 6 o'clock? Of course. Because that's my expression of love. Some that like me, some that don't. Some that abandon me, some that abuse me, some that I don't have words for you, but I can cook your food.
But see, that's the blind spot that you have because that's love.
It's love. Right. I can give it to you. Don't give me a reason why you couldn't, didn't, won't love me. I don't care anymore. I don't care to try. I think I've had my last try. And I'm definitely not talking romantic love. Right. Romantic love ain't even a question on this plate for me. On this plate, and I know people would say, and I'm in so many weddings lately, and can speak into these couples' lives. That's the oxymoronic piece about this. But as for me, all that God has to do for me does not really include that chapter. You get me?
No. Explain.
It doesn't include that. I have work to get done. And I don't have time to waste.
It's filled with love.
It's filled with the expression of love, and I intend to do it.
And there are so many people loving back on you.
They are not. There are so many people with a sticker price and a tag. Oh, honey, I'm looking forward to going to lunch with you. By the way, here's this RFP. Think you can write this grant for me? I'm not silly. I'm not stupid. I know what the expression of love is, and because typically I maybe even love them, I'm going to do what it is they need. So love shows itself different from me. Am I going to change that? Not in this lifetime. Do I believe some fairy tale? Sis, one day, this is what was said at the recent wedding. God showed me a picture of your husband. He's a musician. This is what the lady prophesied. Went all down his story. And what? Girl, listen. That's just not how love needs to express itself with me. I do not believe. I did not accept the prophecy. I was just listening like, can you please, in my head, I was irritated.
He said, return to sender.
Return to sender. Return, because if God got to keep secrets like that, why don't you tell me? What's this peekaboo stuff? One day God going to, so the loss of hope, if that's what you hear, yes. I've lost all hope in the notion of love. Why you bring this topic up? It's so irritating when you first brought it. You could probably hear it in my voice. Like, I don't want to do that. That's goofy. I don't want to talk about love. But I can give a bunch of money away on the show. I did that last year this time. Mm-hmm. That's fun. That's more fun than love. Put $1,000 up. I did that. I can do that. Mm-hmm. I want to talk about love. Everything is on the platter but that. My heart is not up for grabs in this season of my life. And I pray that that is forever. To do anything else is foolishness with no real result. And the people who think different, I mean, you just don't know yet. You don't know yet. You'll learn. You're going to learn today.
Well, I've learned to love in spite of. And I've learned to surround myself with people who can love me. And I've learned to pay attention to those who love me and not look at the people who I thought loved me. That's what I've learned. So there were people who I thought loved me, and I was paying attention to them too much, and I was getting hurt by their lack of love. And that's around the time when God told me to sit back and just watch, get quiet, and watch how people respond to your silence. And we've talked about that.
Yeah.
And I did, because I was tired and I was exhausted, and I just got silent. That's why I shut my radio station down. And some people got agitated. Never checked on me. Never, wanted to see how I was doing. They just talked about me.
Yeah.
But then there were random people who I never really hung out with, who's jumped in my inbox and, hey, sis, I ain't seen you in a while. I just want to check on you. And so God pointed out and said, these are people who are concerned. You can receive love from random sources.
Yeah.
And so I began to pay, and there's been different times of my life where I found myself in isolation because I'm such an introvert. And people will move away. And all of a sudden I find myself alone again. Like, okay, God, I don't know how to make friends at this stage of my life. It ain't like when you was a kindergarten. You just be over here playing. And God would provide an opportunity for friendship for me. And so I've learned to know when it's time to rotate the friendship circle for me, so I can receive love. And sometimes, and this is my analogy, I'm in an arena, I'm in a boxing ring, I'm fighting life. The person in my corner, that would be the romantic partner.
They come in and start choking you from behind.
No.
Okay.
They supposed to be there to wipe your head and give you the water, but there ain't been nobody there for a while.
You better be watching. You better be watching like this. You keep waiting for that water if you want.
If there's somebody there, that's who that's supposed to be.
Okay.
If there's somebody there. But then you got your front row people. You can't have anybody in that front row that's booing. And you can't have nobody in that front row that's going to be scrolling on their phone the whole time when you fighting life. They supposed to be cheering you on, telling you duck. They supposed to be saying something.
Yeah.
So you got to pay attention to your front row people. Now, my old ways, I used to have a guillotine. I cut folks off like nobody's business. You don't exist to me no more, and I will treat you like you did not exist.
Say that.
Sometimes I do bring the guillotine back out every now and then, but what
They need a good chop and chop them. Okay.
Every now and then, what I do is I just move you to the back.
Yeah.
You can get the nosebleed seats. You can watch from back there. Since you want to be a spectator, but not a supporter, you can watch from the back.
Yeah.
People don't like that kind of demotion, but that's where you belong. And I move some other people to the front. And that's how I've been doing my life for probably the last 20 years. I've had to learn to do that for my own survival.
Yeah.
So that I can feel loved as I do this, because I've been doing, I've been a solopreneur before I went back to work for about 11, 12 years. And it's very lonesome. And if you just have people draining you, taking your resources, using your license and using your stuff, but never pouring back into you professionally, personally, spiritually,
But that's part of the other L word to love, if you will. The other L word, leadership, is lonely. It is. It is a very lonely place. Not that leaders love any different, but they give so much. And if you're a person like me, even as an introvert, I love hard. So if I find out your favorite color is purple, don't ask me how I'm going to get that sky painted purple, but that sky going to be purple. If my sister's birthday dream was to have a carnival, and this really happened, but we're in the middle of COVID, so you couldn't have a carnival. That means one private carnival is being set up for one human. Carnival, all the crap that goes with a carnival, to come outside and surprise one human. So I love hard. If I figure out that your food you like is all the way in Paris somewhere, it's going to get shipped here. whatever it is, my expressions of giving to make a person happy, I go all in. That makes me an easy target for people who are looking for prey.
Right.
And because of that, I don't want to change who I am and how I love and my naive approach to people. It's too hard to be looking and thinking, oh, they're going to hurt you, or I can't do that. I'm just going to go with life with naivete and being green and all that there is, but now without trust. Now I don't trust. And love and trust are kind of synonymous. They're in there together. I don't care. I don't trust anyone.
They're not the same, but they go together.
For
like
sure.
they've been dating.
For sure.
But we have to, in order to, the coughs want to start. In order to get an accurate understanding of love, we have to be able to break these words out from love so that we're not muddying up love. Trust, infatuation, eroticism, attraction, all these other words, they date love, but they're not love. You understand what I'm saying?
I do. So, I just choose to, and I mean, I'm not trying to be opposed to everything you say. I just choose to give no life to those other parts that date love. So you talk about eroticism and all those other pieces. That just does not fit in my overall mission to get my work done. It doesn't fit, and so I don't have time to try to make it fit.
So when we reject love
rejected me. Get back what it put out.
God is love.
Well, then the expression needs to be a little different. And God can handle me saying that. God's not sitting around, I can't believe honey said that. No, God, he got some big shoulders. He can handle it.
But I mean, let's dissect that. Love rejected me. God rejected me. Is that the truth? Is that your truth?
What?
You said we got the time. This is the cognitive dissonance. This is the cognitive dissonance.
I mean, God has not rejected me at all. God is, I can't say that. That's why we pump the brakes. Okay. I mean, God has filled in the cracks in ways that I didn't even invite him in. He just came and knew she's so broken. It's kind of like if a child's been in a car accident and the ambulance can't just come and scoop him up. You got to be so gentle, even with the way you try to repair. God has repaired me in such a gentle manner. Very cognizant of the fact that I'm broken in all these places. So he's trying to lift me up and make sure them broken bones don't fall off at the same time. That's the imagery I have of me in God. So even saying it's kind of jovial on some pieces, kind of jokey on others. I pump the brakes when it comes to God's love. I don't know if you almost won this one on that. It's like chess match. I don't know, but this chess, I was like, when you start putting God's love in that, I can't. I have nothing to hold because His love has been so good. There's no words for that, even uninvited. It was just a beautiful, gentle love, and so why that love isn't expressed in other areas, I don't know. But I can't say God's love rejected me. God came into the rejected parts. Yeah. He came into the broken parts. He came into the lost parts and healed immediately and instantly and gently. So no, I can't say that. That's too far.
So Bishop Ellis, may he rest in peace, he came and preached at my old church years ago. And he said, so either we believe what we say we believe or we don't. This is the cognitive dissonance. God is love. We have to stop rehearsing untruths.
It's true for me, though.
I know, but so we have to pull it apart, because the problem when we deal with cognitive dissonance and when we deal with spiritual crises and we deal with existential crises, it's not that we have to pick apart one of the truths where there is a bad teaching or bad instruction or bad something in order to get to the root of it. Now, either it's the truth that God is love that we need to pull apart, or it's the truth that love is a bad thing and which one we got to pull apart?
Love is shaky, for sure.
Okay, so your truth about love is the one that has to be pulled apart so that we can get to a a stable understanding about love.
Mm-hmm.
That way we can come out of this cognitive dissonance, this spiritual crisis, this existential crisis that about love. And I'm picking on Honey.
Picking. She is picking. If y'all hear this, this is straight picking. Picking.
I wanted to talk about 'Tis the Season about love. I just want to put it on the record. She interpreted the whole concept of this
Y'all
show.
hear these questions she's asking me? Does this
That's
sound
'cause
like
you came in?
it sound like I interpreted anything?
No, I wanted to talk about that part about love because we're in that season and we have a lot of, love is just a hard thing to express. You're not expressing something that's just an anomaly to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
People are struggling when you see such negativity on a daily when it comes to just our expressions. You can't even disagree with someone online without just vitriol just getting spewed. Why is loving so hard?
Mm-hmm.
When it should just be able to just say be blessed.
Yeah, it is hard.
It's something is happening, and when we get to the scriptures and it's talking about it in a spiritual sense, then clearly we have to unclog something in the spirit. We got to clean out the filter. We got to get some dust out of there. And I think it's because we have conceptualized love to be a concept, love to be a part of our intellect, love to be something to do, and not to be a spiritual expression.
I mean, I think we all know what love is. I'm just saying that vulnerable play. Yeah, you know what love feels like. It's over the top. Now, I'm meeting some stuff recently. People fall in love immediately. People know they love the next day. Getting married within the same week. I mean, I'm meeting a whole lot of that. And the old me would say, well, you better take time to really vet him. But sometimes you meet a person and when you know, you know.
That's romance, though.
Yeah,
Yes,
that evolves into love.
That's a type of love.
Yeah.
But I'm going to tell you what, it having been married, that ain't the type of love that says, I'll wipe your butt when we're 70.
Uh-oh. That got real crucial.
You know what I'm saying? That's the love that says I'll wipe your butt when you're 70 is 1 Corinthians 13 type of love.
Mm-hmm.
What you talking about is the butterflies and the, oh, he made me feel so good type of love.
Yeah.
That's fine and dandy too.
Right.
You need that to keep the fire hot. But, that stuff you don't think about in your 20s. When you get about 40 years old, your knees hurt. And you're like,
Right.
You need something that's going to be sustainable. You need to understand the concept of spiritual expression, love.
Yeah.
Where I can come to you as my sister, my vulnerability, and share with you some of my hurt and pain, and you not hold it against me. I can share with you some of my...
That's so rare, though. People, even when they say they're not judging,
Yeah.
they are, and they put the bar up for what they want you to be and how they expect you to be. And at some point, you just stop and you say, no, this is who I am.
Yeah.
This is how I'm going to be. This is how I'm going to love. And you get busy at that. And that's the phase I'm at in life.
Yeah.
I am well past the conceptualizing how you serve people. I'm at the point of I'm getting ready to go do this on another level in this coming 22 year. And I don't want to do that holding on to hopes of unicorns and
that
mermaids.
closeness, that intimacy isn't for everybody, though.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, there's levels to this.
Mm-hmm.
With the way you love on the general public, you see Jesus, he had his 12, but then he had his 3.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. That's a
He
great
had
example.
He had the masses, so there was levels.
That's a
to
great
this.
example. Even with all the and they have definitely weighed on my spirit something beyond what I could have expected. There's no way I expected to feel how I feel now. To see the expressions of love in this particular one with these two twins, to bury your twin, to sit there and know you're never, ever going to see them again. Heartbreaking. What do you say? And this is where I was all weekend. What do I say in a eulogy that would give peace when you're broken like this? God, what is a representation of your love? And it was the simplest scripture because it, of course, is the shortest scripture in the Bible. Jesus wept.
Yeah.
It's so powerful, just in the fact, he wasn't weeping because he was confused that Lazarus had died. Not confused at all. He was weeping because he loved so deeply.
Yeah.
His love for his friend's pain. And he didn't just rush to see about him. He waited a little while and let the manifestation of what had happened really soak in. And the fact that Jesus could love me like that, that Jesus is going to weep and cry at the fact of my tears is a love so deep. I really had to process that and give everyone at that funeral this weekend permission to break down as they did, and just cry and wail. If Jesus can weep, so can you.
Yeah.
It's all about love. Now that was an expression. See you got me flip flopping now. Look,
Because
you're good. That's tricky.
We're breaking it down. We're breaking it down.
So Jesus' love, yes, it's a whole nother ball game that I don't play with at all. And you need that. I don't think I could do the work to comfort people or to impact lives without an understanding of Christ's love in my life. Yeah, not at all. I know I couldn't. I don't think I know
Love
I
in
couldn't.
the flesh.
For sure.
Yes.
For sure.
And I mean, even in his moment before death, let this cup pass from me.
Mm.
You know what you came here to do. But he showed his vulnerability even in that moment. Vulnerability is something that dates love as well. It's not love, but it dates love.
What do you mean by it dates it? They hang out
So,
together?
they hang out together. Love and vulnerability hang out together. Love and trust hang out together. Love and, these words that we need to separate from love so we understand that love stands alone. But these other words that we confuse when we think of love is actually these other words that we struggle with.
Well,
We struggle with vulnerability. We struggle with trust. We struggle with romance. We struggle with attraction. Those are the words we struggle with. Love is a human need according to Maslow.
for sure. For
We
sure.
all seek it. We all desire it. We all have need to express it.
Where is that on the pyramid? Your basic hierarchy of needs?
Safety. It's either second or third.
Yeah.
Safety.
So it's significant.
Yeah.
And babies need to learn at an early age where they're getting that love from, how secure that love is in the ways that they ask for that love. When that does not come naturally, you have people like me who you just have a skewed view of love that you're working through. Not to use a crutch or a screen for it, I'm just simply saying some of the expectations of me when it comes to love are not things that have ever been modeled for me. And this is probably just the best I got. That's all I got.
Erickson, stages of development. Infancy is trust versus mistrust.
Right.
So that can, when infancy, that is breached in infancy, that becomes a developmental issue. So what you're talking about has been something that God has been working on with you since infancy. I'm not going to say, I'm saying God has been working on this every good thing and good of everything. He has been working. Whatever good work he's going to finish.
Preach, Robyn.
So he's been working on with you since infancy.
Okay,
Whatever work he
Robyn.
began in you, he's going to finish.
I believe that. I believe that wholeheartedly. I believe it.
But to understand it, though, is trust versus mistrust. That's first. And so it's very important to establish that bonding time in infancy.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Our child could spend the rest of their life seeking for it.
Excuse
I
me.
have a short book on love I want to read. It is the first book I was ever presented on love, and I just got them in the mail today. So I brought them over with me, kind of one exhausted day, working on a grant all night. But I did bring the books. This little book on love, first book I ever received on love, and I order it by the dozens because I give it out. So this is the first book, and I give it out to girls. So you see, I'm getting ready for their whole Christmas packs, and they're expensive. Well, they're not expensive. They're about $8 a book.
Okay.
So the name of this book, and I'm going to read it to you, is called Honey, I Love. So imagine being a little black girl looking like this and getting this book from a teacher. First thing I noticed, wait a minute, this book has my name on it. This book has my name on it. And the little pretty black girl, she looks like me. So what had happened was I was having a really hard go of life. And the teacher came and she asked me some questions. Teacher did nothing wrong. White teacher. She bent down on my level, was looking at me eye to eye. Again, the teacher did nothing wrong. Honey was not about to receive this teacher though. And she's, honey, has X, Y, and Z happened in your house? Because I just have an inkling. She wasn't no other kids around. She was quiet and she was gentle. I think maybe so. Do you want to tell me about it? And I was like, tell me, get down in my house. Nothing happened. I'm a little person. Mind your business, teacher, basically. So she pressed more. And I was like, forget that. I'm out of here. Because all the situations, and every situation she was on, she was right.
Right.
So I left school running away, almost down the highway. I left school and demanded never to come back. And I was gone from school maybe for about 4 days. When I finally did return, she said, honey, sweetheart, I have something for you. And it was this book. So I opened it up, and what you see is pictures of this beautiful little girl and the words on the front, honey, I love. Some people ask, why do you give this book out to people? It's the words. Oh. And it's so short, I'm going to read some of it to you, just a little bit. I love a lot of things, a whole lot of things, like my cousin comes to visit and you know he's from the South because every word he says just kind of slides out of his mouth. I like the way he whistles and I like the way he walks. But honey, let me tell you, I love the way he talks. I love the way my cousin talks and the day is hot and icky and the sun sticks to my skin. Mr. Davis turns the hose on and everyone jumps right in. Honey, let me tell you that I love a flying pool. I love to feel like a flying pool. And if you can see the book, you see this beautiful girl just into all of the words. I'm going to read you like this one more page. Bet you never turned into a podcast or radio show and had a bedtime story read. This is what we do on Pause. Renee comes out to play and brings her doll without a dress. I make a dress with paper and that doll sure looks like a mess. So I'll fast forward some. My mama's on the sofa sewing buttons on my coat. I go and sit beside her. I'm through playing with my boat. I told her arm and kiss it because it feels soft and warm. Honey, let me tell you, I love my mama's arm. I love to kiss my mama's arm. She's going through all these emotions and touch and feel and what she likes and what she sees. And now she's sitting there and she's processing it. She's thinking about before Miss Williams died. So the little girl's in grief too. She told Mr. Williams when he gets home to get a nickel out of her navy blue pocketbook. So she's going through all these pieces about love. And then the last piece, when she's talking about love, the very final line says, it's not so late at night, but still I'm lying in my head. I guess I need my rest. At least that's what my mama said. She told me not to cry because she don't want to hear a peep. Honey, let me tell you, I do not love to go to sleep. I do not love to go to sleep, but I love a lot of things, a whole lot of things. And honey, I love me too. Honey, I love me too. So I was a little girl and the teacher was telling me that she loved me through a book. So every time I encounter a little girl with expressions of love, if I do nothing else, I can tell her about self-love through this book by Eloise Greenfield, which is my dream before she leaves this earth, to meet her and tell her what her simple words did to my life. She's like 94 or 5, so I got to hurry that journey up. But just a powerful little book for girls. And if you're listening and you have a girl that you would like to sew a copy into her life, it's kind of what I do as the poet laureate. It's just my little expressions of love. If this were, Robyn, in all seriousness, a debate, for lack of a better word, you won this. Because and as you sip your coffee or tea or whatever you drink it, I know. And you won it because if it had stayed as a horizontal conversation, you couldn't have won it. But when you put this vertical relationship into it.
Let me tell you, it was gonna stay horizontal. God gave me the word. I was sitting at my desk at work and my nose gonna start running out. Oh my goodness. I was sitting at work. Out of nowhere, I'm sitting there doing billing. And God was like, we going into the word today. Out of nowhere. Yeah. I don't even know. I'm all drugged up from this sinus stuff. I don't know. And God was just like, the greatest of these is love. Look it up. And he had me in the scriptures. I said, okay, if you're going to have me preaching a mini sermon, take me off the camera. My nose is ready.
Well, I think when you talk about love and the power of what you just said, love covers a multitude of sins. So the mere nature that I come and I show up every day, I expressed it right here. I expressed it, and I expressed it very vulnerably, that I'm broken in those places. But that if love is so powerful, it covers that. That is powerful to me.
Yeah.
Everything, put it all on the table like a big blanket. Love falls. Can you see the visual of that? It
Yeah.
just falls and covers it all. Just by loving God. Now that's heavy and that's deep.
Yeah.
Let me be strong and brave enough to lay it all on the table and allow the love of God to cover it in such a way that I'm able to be vulnerable and present in this horizontal sense to humanity. Right now I'm not. But one day, I mean, the hurt prevents me from doing that. But one day I will be.
But someone told me that, I don't know where the scripture is, but somebody said this to me, if there's even a scripture that says it, but somebody said the gifts of the prophet is not subject to the prophet.
Mm-hmm. That's scripture.
This was somebody told me years ago when I had a word for somebody, and I was like, but I didn't feel like I could deliver because I really ain't been in my word and blah, 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 blah. And they was like, whatever, if God told you something, the gifts of the prophet ain't subject to the prophet, you give it.
Mm-hmm.
So, now that we've looked at love as a spiritual thing, not necessarily a physical thing, then your ability to love, am I saying that word right?
Ability
to love comes from your spirit.
Ability to trust, ability to be vulnerable, man.
Well, see, those are those words that date love. We didn't identify those as spiritual gifts. Those are other things. You know, love dates a whole, love be out there mixing and mingling with a lot of things.
I know. Don't touch me. You do that mix it and mingle.
Mix
You
it and
stay on your
mingle,
own.
yeah.
But in this Christmas season, I will challenge people, just like mine is through. It's not just the book that's going in their beautiful little stocking kits. They'll get a journal, all these little girly pieces, so that you can process what you're talking about. What you see in me is the residual effects of the broken little girl in this book.
But that self-love piece that you're teaching, so we didn't even get into the whole self-love thing, but yeah.
And this is what I used to do with this simple book. And since I've spent probably $1,000 or more on these books in the past year, I really want to meet the author. So if anybody's listening, you can figure out how I can make that happen. Her name is Eloise Greenfield. I don't care what city or state she's in. I will drive and just hold her hand in this lifetime and just, I want to tell her.
Oh, we gonna have to give her a clap. We're gonna have to give her an award or something.
I'd love to I just want to meet her. Something that is award-winning old lady. I don't think she even
living?
knew. She's still living, still alive. I don't think she really knew how she changed my life with one
Where's
little
she
book.
from?
I'm not sure. New York, I want to say New York. I have to look it
We're
up.
going to make her. Maybe she'll be our award winner this year.
If that could, Robyn, I'd probably
And you
pass
be our
out.
presenter.
It's funny how we look at these superstars, but that would be like my Beyonce, because she changed my life through a few little words. And put this little black girl on the cover of a book of poetry with the same name, and I then would take her words, live them, embody them, and become the poet laureate. Come
Okay,
on.
so we gonna reach out to her. GLABA is my other organization. She died?
When did she die?
August 2001. August 5th, 2001.
Oh,
2001?
In Washington, D.C.
Eloise Greenfield, 2001? Wow.
oh.
That seems so not right. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. I take your word for it.
Yeah.
I take your word for it. When I checked last, she was still here. Wow.
We
Okay.
got to
Well,
find
then
a-
we could still reach out to her family or her foundation.
Okay.
Because I'd like to even
do
tell them.
something.
They probably wouldn't know. Somebody's still out there buying that many copies of her books.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay,
we'll do
so I knew it
something.
had to be recent. It wasn't 2001. It was 2021. She just died.
Oh, yeah, 2021. That's what I meant. I'm sorry.
So that's why I said it had to have been soon, because I check every year.
Wow.
So she just died a few months ago. That would have been.
Gosh.
But I guess the words, man, it's heartbreaking.
Oh no.
The words to that would be, don't put off, and I keep saying it, don't put off what you can do today until tomorrow thinking that you have time. The fact that she died this year, and it's
Yeah.
one of the goals, and what I keep saying, I will find a way to honor her legacy, because it just meant that much to me. So she just died a few months ago. So, yeah, that's heavy stuff. But that's love right there.
Yeah.
That's love.
Yeah. See, we're gonna figure out a way. We're gonna create something. My other organization, Great Lakes Black Authors, there's got to be something. We'll do something for her. Definitely.
Award-winning children's book author. I just would love to honor her. However we can. I'd love to be able to do that.
You are who you are today because of that book.
I am. One little bitty children's book. So
Wow.
I will always keep buying dozens of copies for every little black girl. The difference this year is that I'm hosting a Santa's workshop. So it is a retreat on a golf course for 3 days. Little girls are going to be pampered. They're going to have their feet done and facials and get all this cool stuff and just do workshops in love as they make crafts and cookies and scream and have pillow fights and have matching pajamas and live their total best life. So if you know a little girl who needs that type of love, and look how Robyn just switched my whole situation. I was trying to be hard on the love front. But if you know a little girl who needs that type of love wrapped around her, this is it. She doesn't have to be a foster kid. She just needs to be with some other little girls. We're on a golf course, so this is luxury.
Yeah.
Being loved on. This is kind of my gift to them. As tired as I am in this season, this is not one of the things that God has let me kind of shake. So I'm going to keep both cabins. Hopefully Robyn comes out, bring her daughter.
Okay.
And we're just going to have a blast.
This is what I'm talking about. Love oozes out of every fiber of your being. You're talking about something. And I want to talk about love. Whatever. Love is who you are. Like, I'll be the first one to be like, I'm tired. I can't do that. I'm off work. My office hours. I'm like Big Red when it comes to office hours. I'm done. Going home.
Ain't no office hours. I'm leaving here to go back to the grind.
Exactly.
I got at least 6 more hours in me tonight.
Right.
And then while I'm there, I'll be cooking for everybody's breakfast and stuff tomorrow. It's just what it is.
Right. Talking about you don't talk about love.
Yeah.
You don't know love till you met Honey. What are you talking about?
Thank you, Robyn. Thank you. See, Robyn a slick one, so she sees these broken parts, and then she give it a little look like, I'm on a mission. I see you, Robyn. I see you.
I just want you to reframe the way you say certain things. That's all.
Okay,
Just
I got
reframe. Got to put a different frame on it.
I
Prettier
got you.
frame.
I got you.
The frame was all
I can
ugly.
pretty it up. So thank you all for pause. We are getting, look, I'm ready to run out this show. We are getting ready for the Christmas season. If we pray that you all are all shopped up, you're done.
I haven't even started.
I haven't either. But we're going to talk a little bit about my girls, I have started with them. We'll talk a little bit about the holidays, some of the stress of the holidays next week. Whew.
Okay.
Expectations of gifts, how to set limits on gifts, family traditions. It's all about the holidays next week. So tune in, and we might even have a special giveaway in honor of Christmas. So you really want to tune in, and you have to be listening to be privy to that giveaway.
Awesome. Bye. See you next week.
We are on.